This is something else that's disgraceful, and I don't understand it because I'm actually in this demographic. And I'm just an average bloke, but age discrimination is forcing thousands of older Aussies to retire years before they're ready. The average retirement age is now just 56, almost a decade earlier than most people plan, or you're actually allowed to. What is it? Is it 67 for blokes or 70 for blokes now? 67. So you can't even access your super for another 11 years. So, and for women, it's a little bit less. But it's leaving many financially vulnerable because they don't want to retire. This is especially true for women over 55 who are the fastest growing group at risk of homelessness. We've talked about that before. You mean you can access your super from 60, but you'd like to retire at 67 with your full super, wouldn't you? So how can mature workers prove their value and stay in the workforce? We're joined by career expert Sue Ellson, who's been guiding Australians through the challenges of job seeking for years. Thanks for your time and afternoon, Sue.
Thanks, Jason. Great to be here.
As a 55-year-old male, I'm actually distraught by these figures today.
Yes, and according to the government, you become a mature worker from the age of 45. So, yes, it's a frightening statistic, isn't it?
So why, yeah, it is. So why is age discrimination still such a big hurdle for older workers?
Well, there's a lot of unconscious bias in the workplace, and also if you look at when people are at their peak earning capacity, for women that's between the ages of 35 and 44, and for men it's between 45 and 54. So there's this sort of natural cycle. Well, if that's when you earn the most money and it starts to go down after that, then obviously the amount of work that you're doing is going to decrease. And another interesting statistic is that for women over 55, if they lose their job, maybe one of these ANZ workers, it's going to take them about 20 months to get another job, which is a very long time to be out of work.
So I'm not being controversial when I say this. Is one of the problems the fact that a lot of the recruiters are younger and they just see people over the age of 55 as, whatever, boomer?
Well, interesting you should say that, because I was in recruitment in my 20s and I distinctly remember thinking anybody over 30 was old way back then.
Jeez, thanks.
And of course, now, yeah, I know. And now I'm 60, so I obviously don't feel old and I'm still very active. But when I was 28, I got sacked when I was pregnant. And as soon as my daughter was born, I was back in demand. And I thought, well, what happens when I'm a little bit older? So I've always planned for my future. And what I've done personally is spread that risk. So I have a lot of little gigs. So just as you're in a small business, if you have a gig on the radio and a gig somewhere else and a gig somewhere else, if you lose one of those gigs, you don't lose your whole identity, your whole income and your whole activity. So really and truly, I think that older workers need to say, well, where is the place that I can add the most value? And if I've got significant value, a lot of employers are not going to necessarily be able to afford my expertise 5 days a week, but maybe they could use me for 2 days a week and I'll still get my normal rate, and I might do 2 days a week here and a day and a half somewhere else, and that's another way to do it. So I think fractional work could come in, and there's a lot of people who would love this sort of flexible working arrangement. Young families, young people wanting to travel. There's heaps of people who could benefit from that approach. And my fourth book that I wrote was all about using technology to attract aligned gigs, which I published in 2019 before the academic, because I actually believe the future of work is not jobs, it's work. So you're going to have a bit of a work here, a bit of work there, and a bit of work somewhere else. And that's what will make up your entire income.
Not suggesting for a minute I'm smart, but that's exactly my life. You've just described my life perfectly. I have the pleasure of working here at 4BC. I'd like some more shifts, guys, if you're listening. But I have my own small business and I just potter around doing those things. And life's not bad, but, if I was unfortunately not working here and I didn't have my business, after hearing all this information, I'd struggle to find a job. I wouldn't even know I wouldn't even know how to get one, because I still believe it's quite a competitive environment. So what mistakes do mature job seekers make when applying for jobs?
Well, for a start, they might use a resume, and not many employers use resumes anymore. They use LinkedIn profiles. A lot of the LinkedIn profiles are not fully, well, everybody's going to Google you before they interview you.
Oh, don't do that.
If something comes up online, that's going to be an issue. But also, I think a lot of people have just ended up in various jobs through happenstance. You know, somebody referred you, or somebody said you'd be good at this, or you just got a promotion. And so that everybody knows how to do a job, but they don't know how to get a job. And they're two very different skill sets. And I remember working with one older person who said, oh, you know, all the jobs go to the young people. And I said, okay, well, would you like a job at $30 an hour working 40 hours a week? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I said, well, I prefer to work 2 days a week and have a day doing golf. Oh, yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah. So I think we have to sort of pitch it in a particular way. But I think one of the areas that people often miss is working close to home. So not the work from home, but working close to home. So if you door knock and network and get referrals into those local businesses not far from home and say, look, guys, I could come and help you out for a couple of hours. You know, would you like to try me on Tuesday or Wednesday next week? So it's not yes or no, it's Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
See what they're like in action, and then that can lead to something else. And that sort of suits everybody because they get that really incredible experience and capability and emotional regulation. And sometimes these people have more freedom of time, and so it can work really well.
Yeah, I love that. And also, I just love the fact that you just don't say no to anything. Just say yes to everything, and it'll sort itself out. And that's something that we even teach our own children. Just say yes, give it a go, work it out. If there's any issues, you'll work it out later. You know, everything can be solved. I love that. What's your advice? And this is an area of concern for me, homelessness amongst mature women. It's on the increase, and it's alarming, the figures. And that's because circumstances in their lives change. It could be divorce or you know, other worse things that happen. What's your advice for women trying to re-enter the workforce later in life?
Well, I think it's very important to realise that if you're running a whole household on your efforts, that's a big ask. And so you've got all the accountability is on you, or the pressure is on you, or the disappointment is on you, or the healing is on you. You know, it's a lot to take on. So I think you need to build a little community of safety around you so that you do feel supported in various ways, because if you lose your confidence, it doesn't matter how many interviews you get. If you rock up and look a little bit desperate, people are not going to hire you because they're going to sense that anxiety in your approach. So you've really got to look after your mental health and well-being and try and set yourself up somewhere where you have some level of security and support, and then start moving forwards in small steps. And I think a lot of people put unrealistic demands on themselves. And if you've been out of the workforce for a while, try and do some voluntary work where you'll meet people and people will see, oh my goodness, you're an amazing person and you've got so much to offer, and then they might refer you in. Because I think if you're competing against 300 AI-generated applicants, that's going to be a hard sell. And up to 90% of jobs are never even advertised. So if you get to know people and get referrals and a little bit of work here and a little bit of work there, you know, save every penny you get, and then off you go. And that's really the best way. And try and minimise as many of your expenses as possible. And if you need to share accommodation for a little while or access support services for women who, you know, are facing these financial difficulties, don't be afraid to do it. Register for food banks. You know, there's lots of supports out there in the community, and don't be too proud to access them. It's only a transition. You can have a job for now, and then when you recover a little bit more and you feel a bit more secure, then you can sort of progress again after that.
And I noticed WorkSkill Australia, we've got to run, but I noticed WorkSkill Australia have got tips for older job seekers. If we might be able to put that up on Facebook or one of our socials for those who are interested. There's 6 tips there. They're all very good. I'm just running out of time to run through them, but some very good advice there, Sue. I wish I had some more time to get you on, because no doubt there'll be a lot of people with some questions for you as well. Sue Ellson, career expert. I reckon that'll happen as well. Thanks for your time this afternoon on Afternoons. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, take care. 12 away from 2 here on Afternoons on 4BC.